Hey guys, how's it going? Just a quick video today. I want to quickly showcase a really cool team I used today using Galarian Zapdos and Togedemaru as a core. Now, Galarian Zapdos and Togedemaru make for a pretty good core. Togedemaru does take double super effective damage from ground. Galarian Zapdos takes double not very effective damage from ground. Galarian Zapdos takes super effective damage from Charm, from Fairy, from Psychic type moves, which Togedemaru resists. The one downside is that both Togedemaru and Galarian Zapdos are exceedingly squishy, which is why we are pairing them up with a Shadow Steelix, which, even though it is Shadow, has a whole lot of bulk to it, and it's going to be putting on the fast move pressure with the Dragon Tails, the charge move pressure with those crunches against ghost types, and obviously the Psychic Fangs can just absolutely wear opponents down. So this team proved to be very deadly in my range, which was I started out in the 2600s. I ended up around 2770 elo. So a huge climb, around 150 point climb, and the charge move pressure from Togedemaru is absolutely insane, and the steel typing is really nice because of all those resistances. So that's why I wanted to show you guys this team. Let's go over. This was just my first 5 battles using this team. Perfect 5-0 set, and you can see that we had a bunch of fun battles. So first off, we have Galarian Zapdos into Dusclops. This is, of course, a terrible lead, probably one of the worst leads we could see. We go into the Steelix immediately. This is a non-purified Dusclops, as you can see from the flower crown. So it most likely has Fire Punch. Purified Dusclops sometimes have Shadow Punch and Return, but you can see here that this normal Dusclops does have the Fire Punch. And then we're going to be hitting them with this Crunch. They do shield the Crunch, unfortunately, which is not ideal, but we have shield advantage now. And with shield advantage, this team can do exceptionally well. You can see that I am going to survive this Fire Punch, but I make a horrible mistake. I thought that I was going to survive that Hex afterwards, so I actually didn't throw the Psychic Fangs. Instead, I tried to go for the Crunch, did not make it there, and so now I'm in a tough spot. I come into my Togedemaru just because the Galarian Zapdos is not going to be having a great time doing double resisted damage. But I have to eat up a Fire Punch there on my Togedemaru. So this is not looking good. I had to eat a super effective uh, punch there, but luckily, because of the fact that they're one shield down, they do let go the Wild Charge, and I'm able to come into my Galarian Zapdos, and I see there that they actually have their own Togedemaru in the back. So this is far from over. I'm just going to be raining down these ancient powers, hoping for that boost. Unfortunately, I do not get the boost, but that does a fair amount of damage to them. The Toxapex, of course, is very bulky, but I will just barely get to this close combat. And the close combat is not a mistake because close combat, a same type ability bonus close combat from a Galarian Zapdos does a little more damage than a neutral Ancient Power. So I actually am not in a bad spot here. And the reason why is because I can farm this Toxapex all the way down. And if I farm them down, I'm going to have so much energy that I will be able to land one Wild Charge onto the Togedemaru. I need to land another Wild Charge. You can see here that I actually don't have I do not have the power up move that Togedemaru normally has in this first matchup. The Fell Stinger, that's what it's called. It does not have Fell Stinger, unfortunately. But a Fell Stinger would not take out the opposing Togedemaru from this range. Maybe after they debuff themselves there, it would have, but it would have been a close call. I really do need this Wild Charge. The Wild Charge comes through, but I'm in a scary spot because I am so debuffed right now. But you see there, I am just barely able to Thunder Shock down that the opposing Toxapex before I get Poison Jab down. That was a very close game. So next up we have our Galarian Zapdos into a Trevenant, also a terrible lead. This game was just throwing terrible lead after terrible lead at us. And once again, we swap into our Shadow Steelix. And then they swap into a Toxapex. So the fact that they swapped in so quickly here with the Toxapex makes me think that they must have another poison type in the back. That's the only reason I can think of for them to swap so quickly is because it's an AB18. But definitely, this is a far from good matchup with the Steelix here. We have to wonder why they would switch into the Toxapex and if the other thing in the back is even weaker to the Steelix, perhaps. So I am just going to let this brine go. My Steelix survives it very easily. And then I leave with a move. So I'm in a good spot here. I can just throw the Psychic Fangs onto the Trevenant. Trevenant might shield this if they've lost count, thinking this a crunch. Sure enough, they do shield it. This is really good for us. Because now that they've shielded, a wild charge from Togedemaru is actually going to be almost enough to take him out. This is I'm hoping that this is a seed bomb here. This is enough for a shadow ball. I do shield it up, and sure enough, it is a shadow ball. So it's a good thing that I shielded up for sure. They did not bait against the Steelix, so I guess there's no reason to think that they would bait there. And then I use the wild charge, and you can see it almost takes them out. And now they're going to be worried that I'm going to take them out completely. So I expect them to shield up this Fell Stinger. They do not shield up the Fell Stinger, so good counting by them. They do throw a move here. I know this is going to be a Shadow Ball. No reason for them to bait here when they're almost dead. It is the Shadow Ball. And then I take out the Trevenant. They have a Galarian Stunfisk in the back. So this is far from over. However, I will just barely survive 2 neutral Rock Slides here. And there's no way for them to mudshot me down. So even though the Togedemaru is going to be able to do very little versus this Galarian Stunfisk in the back, being double weak to it, I should be able to counter down the Galarian Stunfisk here. Oh, never mind. I actually get to the back-to-back close combats. They sneak in a mudshot, of course, but that is not enough to take me out. So now that I'm at the back-to-back close combats, I can throw the second close combat, take them out. Their double resisted mudshots do nothing to me. Absolutely beautiful in the end there. So next up, we have our Galarian Zapdos into Dragonite. This is not a good lead by any means. However, I have 2 answers to Dragonite in the back. I come into their Steelix, my Steelix. They immediately come into Pelipper. And now this is not a safe matchup for Pelipper because I am doing a lot of fast move damage with these Dragon Tails. They're doing very little fast move damage to me with the wing attacks. So all I have to do is shield up one of these Weather Balls and I can farm all the way down. So I'm going to no shield the first Weather Ball. But you're going to see here that I go for an extra move because I know they're at 2 Weather Balls. And now that they've thrown the second Weather Ball, I can safely shield and farm down. There's no way that they're going to make it to a 3rd Weather Ball at this point. And now I have a lot of energy. I lost the shield, but I anticipate getting the shield back at some point using this energy that I have. They come in with a Miltank. So this is really interesting and weird, right? Because a Miltank is not a good answer to a Steelix, but they did not want to come back in with the Dragonite because Dragonite has such a bad matchup with Steelix. They have kind of no choice here but to come in with the Miltank. And so what you're going to see here after this move, let's see if they throw the Ice Beam here. They throw a Body Slam. Body Slam is not enough to take out even a Shadow Steelix, even my Shadow Steelix, which is not a very high rank one. It's not very bulky, but oh man, I'm just tearing through the Miltank, and they switch at the last moment into the Dragonite. Now I can shield this up just because I actually outpaced them to a Dragon Claw and a Superpower, so there's no reason for them to bait there. Their win con was me no shielding the Superpower there, which I was not about to do because I outpaced them. You know, that's what Togedemaru is so good at, is just outpacing every opponent to their moves. So we have a fairly good matchup here versus the Stunfisk. We've seen it before. We'll see it again. The Stunfisk cannot take out the Galarian Zapdos in 2 Rock Slides. So I can basically just keep countering them down all the way to the ground here. I do think that I'm going to probably throw close combat at some point. No, I just let this next move go through, and I'm going to be very low here. So I actually think I'm going to switch into the Steelix just because this is my safe swap, you know, and I'm going to get them so dang low. They are not going to be able to make it to the Earthquake before I get to the Psychic Fangs. So they have to decide if they want to let this go or not. Remember, I have tons of energy on my Galarian Zapdos, even though I have no health. And then they come in with Lucario, so this is not good at all. the Lucario is able to pretty much run through my entire team here. However, I will be able to hit back with these Psychic Fangs, and that's why I shield here. Because if I shield, I can get off the Psychic Fangs, I can get off this heavy damage from all the Dragon Tails. And at that point, if I can just sneak through a move with the Galarian Zapdos, I can basically get the Lucario down into Thundershock range, so they can just Thundershock it down. So we have to hope that they throw a move here. Sure enough, they do. So remember, they're double debuffed because of the Psychic Fangs, and I sneak through a counter. And because of that, I'm actually able to take them out with one Thundershock. They have a Ninetales in the back. This is far from over. However, remember, I still have a close combat on my Galarian Zapdos. Ooh, unfortunately, they don't shield up the first Fell Stinger. At this point, I'm in a very tough spot. Them shielding up the first Fell Stinger was really my win con there. And now they're able to shield up that Fell Stinger fairly safely because they get to this move here. But you're going to see Togedemaru showing off that it's not as much of a glass cannon as you might expect. I don't get to the Wild Charge. I get to the Fell Stinger, and we have to see if they shield it up. And they do shield it up. That was my win con. You see that I actually have back-to-back close combats here, but I only need to throw one. This is going to be enough. Boom! Taking out that very bulky Alolan Ninetales with that neutral move. You love to see it. So next up, we have Zapdos into Machamp. This is a good matchup. And then they come into Toxapex. I just have to go into my Steelix here. Steelix has such a safe matchup with Toxapex. Absolutely walls the Toxapex. Togedemaru also has a pretty good matchup, but obviously it has to debuff itself with those wild charges, which is not ideal. So here, instead of debuffing myself with my charge move, I'm instead debuffing them and doing super effective damage with the Psychic Fangs. And then they brine me. Once again, there's no way for them to take me out in two brines, kind of like how the Stunfisk can't take out my Galarian Zapdos in the lead with two Rock Slides and fast moves. They can't take me out with two brines just because the brines, the poison jabs don't do any damage to my Steelix. And so they have a difficult decision here. They kind of have to shield this if they want to preserve their Machamp, but they don't shield it. And now I'm able to get off that heavy counter damage on their Machamp. Look at that. They have a Snorlax in the back, folks. So once again, this was just my first 5 battles with this team, but I was seeing a lot of opponents that weren't necessarily strong to fighting types or even quite weak to fighting types in the back. So because they're so weak to fighting the back, I should be able to easily win this here. I am just able to counter them down, and then they concede the match. So that is just showing off how deadly these 3 Pokemon can be together. I had a lot more really interesting battles. If you want to check out my VOD using this team, then I will definitely link that in the description down below. All in all, it was a really fun team to use. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you guys have a Togedemaru, if you have any of these Pokemon that I've used, comment down below. Let me know how they perform in the Catch Cup. If you guys want to see anything, if you guys want to catch me on Twitch, once again, link is down below, and I'll see you guys next time.